What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host, Colonel and most handsome dad, Garrett Morlang, and here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games and pocket poppy, Adrian Homeboy Holmes. What's going on, Adrian?
What's going on, my good man? It's been a Monday, but you know what? There's a lot of good that's going on today. I'd like to take a second, if we can, and just do a few special shout outs. Happy 25th anniversary to the Sega Dreamcast.
Yes. 25? Is that what it was? 25?
Yeah, 99. Or
crazy. Yeah.
Well, 98 in Japan, 99 here. Yeah. Same deal.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So shout out to that. Also, shares a similar birthday. Final Fantasy VIII is celebrating its anniversary today.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. So
a lot to celebrate today.
A lot of big things going on.
Yeah. Warhammer Space Marine 2 came out today. That's up there.
Also
That's
of equal importance. Yes.
Equal importance to those things. 100%.
Yeah. No. I'm glad that it got some recognition and some love actually from the official Sega social media accounts. So they have not forgotten about it. Thank goodness.
That's amazing.
I really thought that if, we were going to get that many, today would have been the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At 25, you don't have a much better launch pad for something like that than there. So it does not seem to be so. So maybe I'll just get like one of those little Intel boxes, like the Nooks, and just turn it into a beefy Dreamcast.
The Raspberry Pis or whatever.
One of those, or like the little Intel micro PCs, and just use it solely for emulating stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But if they're not going to do it, I don't really have a choice.
Well, do you have the Super Nintendo Mini?
Yeah.
Because I've done it with a couple of them. I did it for JJ and I did it for my brother-in-law. You can jailbreak those and it keeps the same operating system, but you can play a lot of different things on there, let me tell you. So yeah, so it has the same menu system. It looks just like it does out of the box, but then you keep flipping and all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's Game Boy, oh look, here's NES, here's whatever, so
something to look into.
Looking at that.
Okay.
Whoa, what is that in my goodness, DJ Trooz, Trouser Schnauzer in the chat just shot us a raid. Thank you very much for that.
But yeah, just wanted to make sure we got that out of the way. Paying respect to some, I guess not living, but some legends that mean a great deal.
The Dreamcast. I honestly don't think I've ever even seen a Dreamcast in person.
Really? Not even at the store?
No, I don't remember it. No, I remember we had a Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like the Walmarts and stuff around us. I seriously don't have any memory of Walmart, GameStop, which is surprising. You'd think they'd have something, but I mean, maybe they just weren't popular in our area. I don't know if it was more regional.
Well, they weren't popular, period. I don't know if you remember. Yeah, it only lasted maybe 2 years.
So. Maybe it was a regional thing, or because numbers were, like you said, numbers are low everywhere, but they were so low in our area. Maybe they just didn't stock them. I don't remember going to Walmart and being oh, there's a Dreamcast, seeing a big Sega sign or a Dreamcast sign. I remember PlayStation and I remember, Nintendo 64 or whatever, and stuff like that. But I don't remember anything Sega really, but I don't know. Crazy.
I will say
it's sad.
I think for a lifetime to game release ratio, there is no better console. Just for the games that we got in such a short lifespan window of that console, I think is unmatched. Maybe closest would be GameCube because it had a few extra years on it, but as far as a console only having a 2 to 3 year lifespan, we got so many bangers in that little window.
Yeah, well, I feel
quality ratio is off the charts.
It was. I saw a tweet. I don't remember if it was one you retweeted or someone else, but it had a list of like just the launch title or all the launch title. Like there was so many games like at or around launch even that came out. It was like insane.
Classics.
Compared to like so many other consoles. Like, oh, what they were cooking over there. Like they had so much. There's no reason that this should have failed, honestly. Like,
thanks a lot, Sony.
Man, absolutely wild. But yeah, so happy birthday, Sega Dreamcast. Who knows? Maybe in the 30th we'll get that many. Maybe another 5 years.
Fine, I guess I'll stay alive.
Oh, jeez, got dark. Oh man. All right. Well, today we're going to be talking about Concord's sudden shutdown, how Astro Bot is the perfect game, and Shinji Mikami's comments on Tango Gameworks. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Bumble Smash and Kajoma01, and our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates, Mama Mare, Carrie, and David Matthews. If you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. Support us over there starting at just $1 a month. Excuse me. That's right, $1. You get episodes early and ad-free all month long, as well as exclusive access to our Patreon-only shows and a bunch of other stuff. We got a bunch of other perks, and we'll talk about more of that later on in the show during our ad break, so stay tuned for that. But we do want to, I love giving a shout out to those Patreon supporters here at the top. You guys are the real deal. We love you guys. Real quick here, let's give a shout out to Jack, Sriracha, Yate, and DJ Trooz for allowing us to use their music on the show. That's right. If you're watching live, if you're listening later on podcast or on YouTube, you might hear some tunes in the background just to kind of like fill the empty air here and there. All those incredible songs that you're hearing are from those folks. So make sure to check out the show description, whether you're listening on podcast or YouTube. We got the links there for you. Apple Music, Spotify, they're everywhere. So look them up. DJ Trooz, Yate, Jack Sriracha, you guys rock. Tonight we're listening to the Jack Sriracha and Yate playlist. So excited about that one. All right. And with that, I think it's time to check the mail.
Is what we would say had we not given GamerBot the day off. You know, we did make them work on Labor Day. We made them labor on Labor Day. You know, we broke the cool rules. So we're giving them a day off. Okay.
Okay. All right. I guess I can read. Bummer. Okay. Well, in that case, this first question comes to us from Crimson, and they ask, Mount Rushmore of video game sidekick characters. And they say it also counts if said character gets their own game. So even if they have their own game, if they're generally known as a sidekick, what is that Mount Rushmore?
Okay. You want to go? If there's one that I feel like you're going to say, and if you say it, I'm going to punch you in the gut. Don't do it. I know what you're thinking. He's not a sidekick. They're brothers. Nope. You better pick something else.
He is a sidekick.
You better pick something else.
We've had this discussion before. Did we have this question before? Is that why, or what spurred the conversation before? Because we've had this.
I don't remember
this problem before that we've had to work through.
Right.
Luigi is like the number one sidekick.
No, 100%. Absolutely not.
Take it or leave
I'm going to remember this the next time I see you.
I owe you 7 in the chat says starts with an L. Yes.
He's not a sidekick.
Luigi is 100% a sidekick. He has his own games. That's okay, but he is a sidekick, right? Okay. If I can't,
that's why it's Luigi, Mario and what?
If I can't use Luigi, then I'll throw Waluigi in there. He's the second best sidekick.
Who is he a sidekick to?
He's sidekick to Wario, dude.
I feel like it's a similar situation.
Is it? Waluigi's not in anything. He's barely a sidekick.
Here's the okay. I'm gonna give 2 right off the bat because
Otacon. Okay, my real one is Otacon. That's like number 1. Otacon,
I'll give you that one. I feel like this list is gonna be pretty PlayStation heavy. Obviously we have to put Clank for sure. We have to put Daxter.
I was gonna say Daxter has to be in.
So that's what 2. No, 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then who would we put for the 4th?
This is hard.
Yeah. Ellie? Technically?
Is she that great of a psychic though?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Kind of annoying. Especially in the game she's a sidekick. She's more annoying than just getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Causing more work for you.
Which is a classic sidekick trope.
Yeah, I guess so. Kazooie.
Ooh, hold on.
Oh, Soak7 in the chat said the same thing. That's awesome. As I just looked over and saw Kazooie. That's great. Great minds think alike.
I'm willing to hear that one out. I think that's a valid choice.
I have very limited knowledge of that game. I never beat it. I only played little bits here and there. I had a friend who had it, and I really enjoyed it.
You never played Banjo?
Like I said, there's very little bits. Like I would go over to a friend's house and be like, "Oh, you can play for a little bit," and I play for like 45 minutes, and then that'd be it. The next time I went over, my save would be deleted, so I had to start over again. So I've never gotten far in that game. That's on Nintendo Switch Online now, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of these days I need to
sitting right there,
because I feel like that's a tragedy that I haven't.
Honestly, it's rare at its best.
Yeah. Would Diddy Kong be a sidekick?
Yes. Yeah,
I think so.
Now, because the game is called Donkey Kong Country, so if Diddy's not on the box, then he's a sidekick. Or if his name's not in the title, he's a sidekick. Which is again why Luigi is not a sidekick.
Soak7 says Tails as well.
Yes, Tails. Oh, okay.
Man, there's a lot of good ones out there. Okay. So we got to narrow it down to 4 though.
I'm willing to hear out Kazooie and Tails, because those are very prominent, like well-known mascots.
I mean,
now
Diddy
do we
Kong
keep
too?
More or less. I mean, yeah, he's got one of the best racing games of all time, but still,
compared to Kazooie, I feel like Diddy Kong is more well-known than Kazooie.
I'll give you that one. Well, I'll give you that one.
Maybe. I don't know. In my realm, from what I've perceived.
Soak says Claptrap gets most annoying award, but is Claptrap actually a sidekick or just like an exposition machine? Like, does he go on mission? I haven't played much Borderlands. Does he go on mission and help you?
There might be like 1 or 2 missions he helps, but really it's more just like to drag you through the mission. And then I think most of the time, no, he's not a part of it.
Carrie also says Navi. Yeah.
I don't. Man,
I mean, she is a sidekick, but she doesn't really do much. She's more of a information.
It's basically a Claptrap.
It's an NPC that happens to go with you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm feeling Diddy.
Okay. Clank.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was between Daxter and Clank. I think I'd have to go Clank.
With Clank.
So Diddy, Clank. I kind of want to put Tails on there. He's pretty
Tails.
legit.
I'll ride with that one. Diddy
and then
Clank.
I want to put Otacon because it's got like Metal Gear, and he's pretty legit. I mean, he's like.
Yeah, no, he actually does a lot. He does a lot throughout the series.
But I mean, there's so many good ones though.
Carrie says,
"Yeah,
that's
Clank
fair."
Stays in the title, so he's a sidekick. Guess this is another Mario and Luigi situation.
You know what? But wait, do we do control Clank at times? Okay. Well, I guess then.
Even Jack and Daxter though.
Yeah, you control Daxter too.
I mean, not in the first game, you don't, do you? I don't remember controlling. He has his own game eventually, but
he does have. Well, Clank has his own game too. Secret Agent Clank.
Yeah.
Shoot, right, I guess those 2 are out.
So we have Otacon, we got
Tails. Then I think Kazooie has to go back in by. Oh no, her name's in the title.
Oh shoot, yeah. So I guess Diddy Kong. So we're at Tails, Diddy Kong, Otacon. What a wild.
We need one more.
What a wild Mount Rushmore. I just seeing like a human face, a monkey face, and then a fox up there.
Shoot.
What are the twins in Animal Crossing that help? What's his name there?
Timmy and Tommy. They aren't. Those are NPCs. They're not sidekicks.
They're sidekicks too. What's his name though? Right?
To Tom Nook. Right. But are we talking about like? I guess just in general, maybe.
I just always thought they were funny. I've only played. What's the one on Switch there? But
New Horizons.
New Horizons. But I was like, I love those guys. They're so funny.
Why do I feel like I'm blanking?
Dog meat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
Perfect.
Carrie. That was all Carrie. I will not take credit
through.
For that. That was all Carrie. Thank you so much for that.
Dog meat.
Boy.
Otacon. Tails. What was the fourth?
Diddy Kong.
Done.
Okay.
Woo.
Winner. Chicken dinner.
Dog meat was a great one. You came in clutch with that one, Carrie.
I know. I was struggling. I'm like,
I was going through the Rolodex like, no, they're in the title. No, they're in the title. No, you can play them.
This ridiculous rule that just because their name's in the title, they're not a sidekick.
Sorry.
Makes that incredibly difficult.
You know what I mean?
Cool. Well, there you go, Crimson. Enjoy.
That was a good thought exercise.
That was a good one. We got one more. We got another book back from Ranger. Ranger's back. Let's get to it. Okay, so my mind is completely twisted in a pretzel, and I understand I may be leading you into the news headlines here, but Helldivers 2 comes out earlier this year and is a smash hit. Concord collapses, crashes, and burns after barely 2 weeks. What a disaster. 8 years in development, Sony bought the studio. How much money was invested here to be completely flushed away? Astro Bot is reviewing well and seems to be selling. This up and down seesaw Sony is riding here is concerning. I'll keep my thoughts less expansive this week. LOL. My question for you this week are, if you two were in charge of Sony, since there are now two heads at PlayStation, what does Sony take away from this? What is being said behind closed doors right now at PlayStation? In what direction do they steer the ship after this? What should the next 10-year plan look like? Do you bring back Concord as a free-to-play game, or is Concord completely dead? P.S. Once Star Wars Outlaws gets going, there are some great moments ahead. I will say, Star Wars Outlaws seems to be getting a lot of grief online, but the more I actually watch gameplay and like listen to people I actually like respect their opinion, this game looks really good. Like I really want to try it. That's
what I hear, but I'm nervous because it didn't come out the gate with like critical like
it came
everybody's
out with like
yo, this game rules.
Like from like the main places I looked, it's like 7s and 8s. But then like which is good, like, but then which is fine. But then it's like the individuals who are like, there's just a lot of complaining going on. But then at the same time, it like took a little bit, and then people are like, no, it's actually like good. Right, it's actually fine. It's not a perfect game by any means. So
I also had to choose because I knew for a fact that Astro Bot was going to be good. Right?
Yeah.
Outlaws was an unknown, and it's also Ubisoft, so there was a chance. There's always a chance with a Ubisoft game. Yeah. Now, what I will say is that the second that Outlaws hits like $30, I will absolutely be picking it up without hesitation. Because if it's a 7 or an 8 now, and I can get it for like $30, I know I'm going to have I would have a much higher view of it because I only had to spend $30 versus having to spend full price for it. It's cooking in your office.
It's currently 89.8 degrees in my office.
Yeah. For those who can't see, Garrett's holding up his in-office thermometer, and it is 89 degrees Fahrenheit down there in SoCal. Well, you have fun with that.
That's in my office. It's been anywhere from like basically the last week and a half. It's been like 105 to 110, which is fun. It's currently 86 outside, so it's actually cooler outside than in my office. Which is insane.
Well, you continue to melt down there.
The stuff I do for you folks. I had to turn off my AC to record this podcast. That's how much I love you guys. Anyways,
no, I'm definitely interested to play Outlaws.
Yeah. As soon as that goes on sale, like I'm just feeling the same way. As soon as it's like, all right, $30, I can do that. That sounds great.
Yep.
I'm still. There's not been enough good stuff. There's been good stuff coming out, like people saying, but not enough for me to be like, I can pay full price for this. It's like it needs to be a little
it's like right on. If it was like 8.59, I'd have probably jumped.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Consensus wise.
So 7 in the chat says, I know an AC guy. Well, I have AC. Don't get me wrong. I got AC. It's just too loud. Too loud. If you can find me a quiet AC, you got the job. Anyways, back to the Ranger's question here. I don't want to talk too much about Concord because there is a news story about that coming soon. But PlayStation, what is PlayStation taking away from, like, if we were the heads, what would we take away from this, and how would we change the trajectory here? What's our 10-year plan to fix this? I think we're on the same page, and I feel like we've talked about this before. So I'll let you go because I'm pretty sure we're in agreement on this. Okay.
And while I do that, the folks are saying turn your AC on and stop dying.
It's fine. I'll be fine. It just went up a degree. It's okay.
Yeah. Now it's a solid 90. We're doing good.
We're A-okay.
Okay. I mean, I feel like, if I'm going to speak for both of us, and you can jump in whenever you want.
Oh, I will.
But
yeah. I think know we're on the same wavelength.
Immediate thing, live service initiative is done. That's dead. That's cut.
Yeah.
We will let 100%. Third parties run the live services all they want to. We're open to partnering with them. You can bring your game over to the platform if you want, but PlayStation will no longer be funding traditional live service, roadmap based, seasonal
microtransactions,
games, microtransaction heavy or like dependent games. We're not doing that anymore. So that is automatically done.
Yeah. I agree.
In the next 10 years, whatever gigantic AAA blockbusters that we have in development, when you release, that is your last one for a good while. Budgets for games are getting cut dramatically. There's not going to be any more $200-300 million for Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, or whatever. Like I said, once these series of games end, budgets are getting cut because they're taking too long to come out. And I feel like they don't have enough content to justify the length of time that they're taking in development, because they're taking too long and they're focusing too much on fidelity versus making a game that has a lot of substance and a lot of meat to it. So that is the second edict, is we're really cutting back on that so that we can use that extra dough that we would have been paying for games, and we are restarting our handheld division.
Yes.
So we are going to make
we need to have less Marvel movies, like less blockbusters, and more just like, give me something that's like to add on here to
go ahead.
That sentiment before you jump on the portables. I think we're cutting budgets back, but like we're taking, like, we need to come at games from a more, like, be creative with the budget we have.
Right.
Like, find out ways to do what we want to do, and either, like, okay, instead of just throwing money at the problem to fix it, be creative with it or change it and work with what we have. It's not bad. It's not like there's nothing wrong with doing things the way they're doing it, other than the money aspect of it. So it's like, okay, instead of blowing all this money and like not making that return back and having to lay a bunch of people off anyways and making less games, mediocre games, not mediocre games, they're all sort of, they've been good. They're 9s, for the most parts, in my opinion. But yeah, I think we like taking a more like early, especially I've been playing Astro Bot recently and like being reminded of all these old franchises. Like, we need to come at these games less of a, okay, we have a problem, to throw money at it to make it as spectacular and incredible as possible. Similar to it's like the Marvelization of video games, basically, like the Disney, what Disney is doing with the Marvel and Star Wars. Let's throw more money at it, it'll be fine. And then it's not fine. Like, oh no, let's work within our means and set like a more strict budget. That way we can actually like use our imaginations a little bit and like, okay, we want to do this. We can't quite do that. Well, what's another fun, interesting way we can go about this and just work within our means instead of working like, I don't know, this is basic like home ec 101, like set a budget and stick to it kind of thing, right? Like let's live within our means and not just kill ourselves and overspend. I don't know. That's my thought. Yeah. Anyways, you can go on to back to your portable thing, which
so clearly we need to make up for lost time, because the second that Sony saw that the Switch was successful, we should have had people in a boardroom or in R&D working on something that like 20 what? No, you know what I mean. Like 2018. What?
The other day I was on OfferUp, the app, the marketplace app or whatever, and someone nearby me was selling a PlayStation Portal for like $100, and I was like,
"Did you do it?"
No, I didn't. I was tempted. I was
gonna say $100.
I saved it. If they originally had it like at like 175, and then it dropped it. So I was like, if it drops a little bit more, even like I might, because
I don't think it's gonna go below 100.
They're trying to ditch it, and no one wants to buy it. So if I mean, the whole
do
point
a hard
OfferUp,
95. See if they'll take 95.
I was like, the whole thing with OfferUp is to do offers. I should just throw it out to like lowball them and see if I can get it. Like, yeah, I don't know, just for the fun of it, you know. I don't necessarily need one, but
if he'll take 95, why not?
Yeah.
I forgot where I was at. Oh, okay. Yeah. So 2018, 2019, Sony should have been in R&D for a portable at that point when they saw that Switch was doing the numbers that it was doing.
Yeah.
So we are absolutely investing in a portable, and it will be I think it's going to be Steam Deck level, because I feel like the ROG technology is still too battery hungry. So I think that's a safe place to be in, especially if it's only playing PlayStation titles, because we can make a SKU and we can make a hardware set that, you know, the developers only have to develop or make a version or like, you know, kind of cut their game down to fit on that. And I don't think that's necessarily crazy for them to have to do, right? If I give you a Steam Deck and I tell you, what is essentially a Steam Deck, and say, you know, the current game that you're making, can you cut it down to run at like what is Steam Deck, like 720? Can you cut it down to run at 720, 60? And you know what I mean? I don't think that's impossible for them to do. So
no, I mean,
it's gonna
right. I mean, even now the games are doing like what? So like when I play,
or even 1080, I'd say
when I just play so it can games be like full HD. With remote play, it's technically downsizing to whatever resolution you're playing on. So like when I do remote play on my Steam Deck, it's outputting at 720p. So like there's no reason. So like those games are already, you know, outputting at 720p. So they should be capable of rendering at 720p, right? Like, so the PlayStation can already do that. They just need to make it so, okay, you're playing on a handheld, it's going to play in that lower resolution then. So, because if it can do it for remote play, why can't it do it for a handheld, right?
So maybe I'll even bump it up. I'll say 1080. I think is reasonable, especially with the tech that they have out now. So I'll say 1080 60. I think is reasonable. With like the uprising tech and everything too. Like with, I mean, that's the whole gimmick with PS5 Pro is like apparently it's going to have their version of DLSS in it, basically, like whatever the PlayStation equivalent is of DLSS, or what's AMD has FSR. So where it's like AI uprising. So yeah, why not have it, you know, running at 720 but uprising to like 1080 or whatever, you know, right? Yeah, it's on a small screen, you don't need anything too crazy. So that would be done. We would probably have it come out the same release window. That's the only thing, is do we have it come out the same release window as PS6, or do you think we stagger it to give people a chance to get the main console and then come out with the handheld later? Because let's see. PS2 was what, 2000, and then PSP was 2005. I think that's too big a gap though, if we're trying to keep them concurrent. What did Vita and PS3 do? They were pretty close. PS3 was 06 and Vita was 12. Really? It was that big of a gap? I thought they were closer.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
11 or 12, I think, but still.
Okay. So Vita was closer to PS4 then.
Right.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that. For some reason in my head, like Vita is more like, I always equate that with like closer to like PS3 era, but it really is more PS4.
PSP is more PS3 era.
Yeah. I guess now you mention it. Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then in that case, I think
maybe
you stagger it.
3 years.
I think you stagger just a couple years. I think it could be something where even you could announce them together. Get people excited.
I wouldn't.
No, I don't know. I would think like, hey, here's a PS6 and we're planning on, and
we're working on more hardware in the future.
I don't know. I think you come right out and be like, in 2 years or 3 years or whatever, like expect the handheld, which is going to unlock all this new function. Like, I don't know, like having like play your games on the go as well. Like, but maybe not. Maybe you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot with like people just waiting for the handheld or something. But yeah, so maybe you don't announce together, but definitely I think 2 years is a good time span. Yeah. Like let people get in there and enjoy some titles, be like, oh, okay, this is pretty sweet. And then a couple years later be like, oh, here you go. Here's a handheld that can play all these on the go. That's not a PlayStation Portal.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the best course of action, because you don't want PSP to be its own thing, because developers don't want to spend the resources to make not custom, but like exclusive titles just for it anymore.
Right.
Because I feel like Steam Deck and Switch have killed that, that line of thinking. Right. So if you just tell them you have to make one game and just, make one version for the home console and then take those settings and literally like turn the dial down and make it fit on the portable, I think that's much less work than having to come up with a totally different game or a totally different experience to fit on the handheld.
I mean, if it's incredible the games that are playable on the Steam Deck, honestly.
Yeah.
Like natively, like not even streaming or anything. Like
Control was on Steam Deck.
That's how I played through it. Like I remember I started on PC and was like, this isn't for me. And then like a year or two later, I got the Steam Deck and I'm like, oh, this game's sick, and played it and it looked phenomenal. It wasn't as good as on PC, but it looked,
of course,
very serviceable, let me tell you. And there's been a lot of games since then that look just incredible on there. I mean, I could play Baldur's Gate 3 on there. I can play like The Witcher. That's a massive game. Fallout, like all these big games. They're older games, don't get me wrong. But there's more modern games that I'm just blanking on right now. But the technology nowadays, especially with like the AI and the upscaling, like FSR and stuff like that, like even Space Marine 2 is playable. It's not great, but it's playable.
They probably haven't also
optimized
for it either.
Exactly. So. They said that they're planning on coming out with a Steam Deck patch soon for Space Marine 2, but and FSR 3 is coming out soon. Right now FSR 2 is out. I guess FSR 3 is coming out soon. That's what they're planning on fixing it with. But that game was, was gorgeous on PC. It doesn't look as gorgeous on Steam Deck, but I was surprised it even ran. I'm like, okay. I was getting like between 25 and 30 frames per second, which isn't, again, fantastic. But I'm like, oh, again, this was playable. Like I was playing it, still having fun, and with the new technology coming out, it's like that'll be even more playable. So yeah, I think that's completely reasonable. Like bring PS6 games, especially if we're not doing the big bombastic, $300 million games either. Like that makes it even easier to make it available for a range of hardware, from your home system to something on the go.
Right. And even if it's an option too for people who, if you don't want to, get the big PS6, at least you can still play PlayStation, Now here's the thing. Do we call them PS6 games or do we call them PlayStation games? Because they're going to be playable on both. And PSP is not a PS6. That's it. We're getting in the weeds. We're getting in the weeds
a little bit.
last initiative, and then if you want, you can go and you can add whatever.
Yeah.
We are coming to life again as PlayStation. We are bringing our identity back. We are bringing our personality back. PlayStation right now is really sterile, really cold. there's no faces out front anymore of the company. People don't, you know what I mean, show up to events or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that era is done. You will see the people who run PlayStation. They will be on keynotes. They will be in presentations. They will be at events. So you can put names to faces and start to reestablish that identity with PlayStation that has been lost.
Yeah.
Right now, PlayStation feels more like a corporation than it ever has. And I hate that, because you're an entertainment company and you're supposed to be selling an entertaining experience. And I think that matters just as much about the people who are selling it to you being entertaining as much as the product itself being entertaining. So we are rekindling our identity as a entertainment, a fun selling, a merchant, a creator company, all that. We're also bringing back PSX. It is coming back, and it's going to be yearly.
Yes.
Just like it has been before. I don't know why they stopped PSX. I can't imagine that it has that much impact on their annual budget. I think PSX probably is maybe like $4 or $5 million. How much do they make a year? You know what I mean? It can't be that crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, it had to have helped, like having it costs a lot to put on, but I mean, you're making money off tickets and you're exposing people more to your brand and like becoming
and a lot of people walk out of there.
You know?
Yeah. A lot of people walk out of there. You know what? I am going to buy a PS5. I am, because I really like that thing I saw, or I had this conversation, or I played this demo with this person about this game that I really like that's only on PlayStation. I guess I'm going to have to get it if I want to keep hanging out with that person. Yeah. All these moments happen at PSX. You know, you might get somebody who's bringing a friend. They're like, hey, I'm going to this thing. I know you like video games. Maybe you want to go. This person may have, not really been messing with PlayStation like that. But when they come in and see what you guys have to offer, you might have a new customer walking out of that convention. You never know. Yeah. And it's also nice for your fan base to have somewhere to come and to emphasize and kind of like, cement that camaraderie about, man, PlayStation rules. And we're all here because we love PlayStation.
Yeah.
And 100%. It's nice for developers to see and interact with the people who play their games. It's a nice morale boost for them, for executives to get out there and they can, get out there, talk to the people, ask questions. What do you like? What don't you like? You know what I mean? How are we doing? What can we do better? Things of that nature. You don't get that kind of it's not free, but like that's the best market research and QA you can get is, these are the people who really care about your platform.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be my 3-prong plan. Live services are dead, budgetary cuts, rekindling portable, rekindling our public image over the next 10 years.
I like it a lot. I want to go back real quick to Soak 7 in the chat. Says not Warhammer. I forgot I chatted with Soak over the weekend. I was like, do I get Warhammer on Steam Deck or do I get it on PlayStation? And he tried it on his Steam Deck and he's like, dude, it doesn't run. So I want to give him an update because he's probably like, what are you talking about? It doesn't run that good on Steam Deck. The next day I was looking up on online and I use Proton. It's called protondb.com where people can like write reviews of
tell you if it runs or not,
how good games run on Steam Deck and stuff. And all before that, like around the time when I talked with him, it was like negative, bad, not running. But I don't know, they must have put out a patch or something and everyone's like, oh, it's running at like, a few run it on lower graphics. They're like, oh, we're getting on like 30 to 40 FPS. If you run on medium, it's more like 20 to 30. I was getting like higher 20s on mine. I was surprised. Like I was like really shocked. I was running on medium. So again, it's not like gorgeous, but they must have put out a patch or something. So I want to let Soak know because he's been playing on PC, but he tried it. I want to give him a shout out. Thank you so much for testing it for me. But because he sent me a picture on Discord, he's like, dude, it is not good. It does not run. It crashed on him. But for me, I did a little more research and saw that, I don't know, there must have been like a patch or something that came out. And it's like, okay, it's not great. Don't get me wrong. Like I played on PC and I'm like, it just looks so gorgeous. It's kind of like a disservice to play on Steam Deck. But also I'm like, oh, like it does work. So anyways, I was backtracking a little bit to Warhammer stuff, but I wanted to address Soak's comment. He seemed like confused, like what? Not Warhammer. It's very good. Anyways, yeah, Sony needs to do something, and I hope they do. I hope there's some changes made with all this stuff going on. I hope they don't just keep pushing. I hope they don't think that, oh, if we just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, I think kind of like the little engine that could. I think I can. Like this whole mentality, like let's just we're going to keep doing the same thing, keep doing it and doing it. Eventually, is this going to work? Like I hope they really do realize, like, oh, we need to make changes here. That's my overall conclusion. Is like because if they don't, like they're going to be in a similar situation that Xbox is in now, where like Xbox is kind of in a very different situation, but kind of put themselves in a corner and they're kind of in trouble in some ways and it's like, oh, okay, like how's Xbox gonna get out of this? Well, Sony is very much in a similar position, if not like on the doorstep of where Xbox is at. So a lot of these big game companies, console companies are kind of getting in trouble and it has me worried. It's like, oh, it's gonna happen down the road here, but we'll see. We will see. All right, we should move on here with the rest of the show. Thank you so much to those who wrote in. Remember, if you want to write in, you can head over to our Discord at supergamerboys.com/Discord. Join us over there. It's free and you can hang out, chat with us, talk about what you've been playing, share some of your favorite moments from Astro Bot or whatever game you're playing, and obviously write in questions for the show. All right, Adrian, it's now time for the nerdy nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy nudes.
Okay.
I did it.
I know. I was like,
you were looking real hard. Like, did you do it? I did the whole thing.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. This first news story, if everything is working correctly, yes. This first news story comes to us from IGN, written by Ryan Dinsdale. Concord is suddenly getting pulled offline with Sony promising full refunds. As alluded to during Ranger's letter, PlayStation hero shooter Concord will be taken offline on September 6th. So it's already happened. September 6th, 2024, and all players will receive a full refund, Sony announced today. Announced on the PlayStation blog, director Ryan Ellis said, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game in our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Concord will therefore be taken offline so Sony and developer Firewalk Studios can explore options, including those that will better reach our players. The game will be removed from sale immediately, and anyone who purchased on the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct will be refunded to their original payment methods. Those who purchase on Steam and the Epic Games Store will be refunded in the coming days. Physical refunds are a tad trickier. The players can check with individual retailers to obtain a refund. Sony will presumably organize a system with them itself that allows all refunds to be processed fully. Once refunded, players will no longer have access to the game, Sony made clear. Concord arrived August 23rd, 2024, meaning it has been removed from sale just 11 days after launch and taken offline for all players a mere 2 weeks after. Even those who bought Concord will no longer be able to play after September 6th. Its launch was nothing short of disastrous, with analysts telling IGN it has likely sold as few as 25,000 units. It debuted to a tragic 697 peak concurrent players on Steam, a number that made the 12,786 players of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which was dubbed a disappointment by Warner Brothers Discovery boss David Zaslav and caused a $200 million hit to revenue, look like a titan. This comes after 8 years of development and presumably tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars spent by Sony, a company already said to be shifting gears away from live service heavy future. Sony president Hiroki Totoki committed to launching just 6 of 12 live service games in development, and one based on The Last of Us has already been canceled.
Yeah, there's more getting cut. Don't worry.
Yeah, 100%. So this was wild news to see. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't even know this game had come out. I remember seeing the trailer at Summer Game Fest. And I think you making a comment, you're like, what is this TV writing like script? Like,
yep,
it was so bad.
I sure did.
I don't even remember. I remember it. I don't remember it even giving a release date. Apparently it did. And then not only that, it came out with zero fanfare. And So yeah, and Carrie hits the nail on the head. They didn't do any marketing for it. So like there's one trailer that came out. There's a teaser that came out last year, which literally just showed a logo. There was a one trailer that I know of that came out of Summer Game Fest, and then it just came out and they expected people to buy it and play it. Like,
did you know that they made a controller for this game?
Really?
Yes. They were thinking that this was going to be like their next big thing. They were pushing behind this hard. They thought this was it. From the one trailer that I know that came out that I saw at least, it didn't look that exciting to me. I mean, I'm not a multiplayer hero shooter guy anyways, but even like you said, like the dialogue, like the story they're trying, I'm like, this is kind of weird. I don't understand. Like, it's kind of cheesy, not my cup of tea. I don't know. It's not surprising, but also incredibly tragic. Like, I've never in a million years would have guessed that a game would only get 697 peak concurrent players on Steam. That's wild. Like, for what is essentially a first party PlayStation title, right? At this point,
that's insane. Less than 700 people played this game at one time. Obviously, like 25,000 units were sold. But the fact that like at one time, like it must have been so hard to find a game to play. Like, it makes sense why they're shutting down the servers. It's like, okay, like there's no one playing on them anyways. Probably costs more to upkeep them than people are playing, even utilizing it. I did see somewhere else, there's another article where apparently there's a change.org petition out there though, where people are trying to keep it alive, saying that the reason that they didn't play it, people are literally signing this petition. I should have looked it up if I was
because they didn't even know it came out.
If I was a competent podcaster, but the idea is like we were busy that week, so that's why we didn't play it. So give us another. Let us.
Oh, brother! Come on! Do better than that. That's a joke petition.
No, it's 100%. But it's change.org. The title is "We were all busy that week. Please release Concord again."
That reads like a what is that called? The hard drive.
Yeah, it does. Honestly, it does.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, okay, real talk about the article. Of course, we never want anything to fail. As video games come out, of course, we always say that, and we always mean it 100%. As much as Concord was not for us, when the initial trailer came out, there was no bone in my body that wanted this game to fail, because there are people who put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. Over years and years, there was a ton of money that had gone into it. And that's somebody's, life's work in a sense. Yeah. So I would never want to see it, go up in flames. But, the market, it spoke, and it also wasn't marketed very well. I feel like it had a really short run-up window too, from when we first found out about it to when it released. So I feel like it didn't even really have a lot of time to build up hype.
It was like a teaser. Again, this is my foggy memory, but again, that's how bad their marketing was, is that I have only vague memories of things. Most games I can be like, oh yeah, there's a trailer here. This one, it's like, I think last year we got like a 10-second teaser that had a logo. We got the full kind of reveal trailer this summer. And then, that was in June. So then 2 months later, the game just came out. Like, yeah. Again, there might have been more, but that's how bad their marketing was, is that I didn't see it. I never saw ads, nothing. Crazy.
I think this definitely does put the fear of God in Sony, as far as this big live service push. And if not them, definitely the investors, because that's a couple $100 million in the hole now.
Yeah, I wonder what the budget was. Let me look it up.
I don't know, but remember they also had to buy the studio too. So
right.
I think they are. If the conversations weren't being had, which they were, because remember they cut the initiative firstly down from 12 games to 6. If the conversations weren't being had about getting out of the initiative before, they are definitely happening now with members of the board and the shareholders and the Totoki and Herman. I guess, huh?
I was gonna say the exact budget is unknown, but the estimates are around $100 million mark.
Right.
So
that's on top of the money that they sunk into it too. So
right. And then but yeah, and this is so wild because like Firewalk Studio, from what I understand, now did Sony buy them or did they create them? Because Firewalk doesn't have anything else in their portfolio other than this. Is this the studio where they were working on this beforehand and then Sony bought them because they liked the IP? Okay.
Well, they bought them. I think this is one, and correct me if I'm wrong. Chat can also correct me. I think Carrie's in here too. I don't know if she's had to do any studying on it, but I think this is one of the ones that Bungie advised them on, because you know how they bought Bungie initially to help them pick out or to evaluate live service games that they should invest into or create. And I think that this is the one. I think this is one of the ones that they'll never say it directly, but I think under the table Bungie was like, you guys might want to pick these guys up because this game looks pretty sick. Which, if that's the truth, and if Bungie is the reason that they picked this up, if I'm PlayStation, bro, you were already on thin ice for overvaluing yourself when we bought you guys, and now you're giving us bad advice when we overpaid for you. Yeah, I think you might be out the door. I don't know. That's just me though. That's nuts. That's 2 strikes in this partnership already.
Yeah. So Firewalk was founded in 2018. It was originally owned by Probably Monsters, and then in 2023 Sony purchased them. They've been a PlayStation studio since then. It's all it says it's all veterans from Bungie and Activision. Which is more why I would be like, I think there's a little like quote unquote insider trading or insider bias as to why Bungie would be like, hey, you might want to look at this these Firewall guys. You know what I mean? So but yeah, we never want to see anything fail, and it's unfortunate that Concord has failed. But the one, I guess, pseudo positive is maybe this will make Sony, like you said, look at their options and maybe reevaluate their strategy as to maybe not everything we make should be a live service game. Yeah. Or maybe there's something that we can kind of make in the middle of between a Last of Us 2 or, something on the scale of an indie game. There's somewhere in that middle market that we can exist and thrive. So that's the best we can hope for it. It would be interesting to see if I just hope Firewalk
comes
gets another
back.
chance.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It'd be interesting to see if it does get a chance to come back. Like if it gets to try to pull a No Man's Sky. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't come back. But if it does come back, I'm definitely rooting for that team to see if they can pull it together. So
that's been going around. Is like, obviously, personally, I want Firewalk to get another chance, even at another game. Like I hope they don't just get shut down, get canned. But if Firewalk, even something I've seen going on the internet, and I was going to ask you how probable you think this is, re-releasing it as a free-to-play game. I've seen a lot of people talking about like, hey, you should re-release it, make it free-to-play, because it already has the microtransactions, everything in there, just at least to recoup some cost, make it free-to-play, right? And then just kind of continue with that, and then at least get at least a year or two out of it before sunsetting it. How viable do you think that actually is? Because that's then pretty, I don't know, I've seen a lot of outlets talking about that, and it's like, okay, that seems like they could make that work, but also I don't know, it could also just sink more cost into it and not pan out. Like they could make it free to play and be paying all the hosting fees for all these servers and whatnot and development cost, and then it still not do anything. So I don't know.
I think it's a gamble, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? They already do have a little bit of goodwill because they are refunding everybody who bought it, and they still let you play it on top of that. So with, the majority of the community knowing that's what happened, they might be more willing to give it another chance if it comes back and it's free to play. Because technically everybody can say, well, I didn't really spend any money on it, but I did get to play it. And, you know, the people who like what they played, it's just more of what you played. Now it's back.
Yeah.
And you always have the potential to get more eyes on your game if you don't have to pay for it. So you're gambling, you know, on A, word of mouth from people who have played it already, and then B, the fact that it's a free game. So your odds are increased with that original market that you have. So I think it's worth the gamble.
Okay.
I mean, worst that happens is it comes out, flops again, and we just nip it in the bud right there, you know?
Yeah. How sad would that be? They release a free to play like 2 weeks later, like, we're pulling it again, you guys. Fool
For
me
real
once.
this time, it's done.
Fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me.
Carrie said just make more Astro Bot. I mean, yeah. I don't see why not.
Oh, that's a good lead into this next news story. This next news story isn't a news story at all. I just want to look at the Metacritic reviews because this game is the frickin' bomb. I couldn't find one that was the best representation of what we're going to talk about. So yeah, this next news story is coming to you from Metacritic, from all the critics reviews and user reviews. This is
in our review. This
game is just doing so incredibly well. It's at a 94 Metacritic must play. User score, it's at a 9.5. I don't know how they just hit the nail on the head with this game so perfectly. I mean, Astro's Playroom was incredible.
Rescue Mission was incredible.
Rescue Mission was incredible from what I hear. But so many 10s for this game. Well, so much, like 10 out of 10s. Mm-hmm. Astro Bot is creative, inventive, insanely fun, a true love letter to the legacy of PlayStation. From CG Magazine. Comic book says, despite having high expectations for Astro Bot, Team Asobi still found a way to surpass all of my hopes. This isn't just one of the best games of 2024, it's one of the best platformers that I've played in the last decade. Those who have a long attachment to PlayStation or just simple love for games of the genre cannot let Astro Bot pass them by. So many.
Hit the nail on the head.
So many. Push Square. Astro Bot is a stunning 3D platformer and easily among the best games in PS5's library. I would say either in the number 1 or number 2 slot, honestly, between that and Ratchet and Clank.
Yep, that's where my debate is at right now.
It fully delivers on the promise of Astro's Playroom, building on the rock-solid core of tight controls and inventive gameplay and turning everything up to 11. With tons to see and do, almost endless fresh ideas and innovative use of the DualSense features, and a truly charming presentation, it's a confident, cohesive experience that players of all ages will love. To top it all off, it's a perfect game to celebrate PlayStation's 30th anniversary, reflecting on the myriad series that made the platform what it is today. What a just... I don't know. I can't even think of good words to describe it other than just what these people have already said.
A masterpiece? That's what I would call it.
Yeah, that checks all the boxes. It can, like a couple of people have said, like as far as a platformer, it's so tight, controls so well. It utilizes a DualSense so well. Like I love, like with Astro's Playroom, people would kind of like, oh, it's gimmicky, oh, it's this and that and the other thing. But I don't know. I didn't think that with Astro's Playroom, and even more so with this. I'm like, nah, man. Like they're just actually using the technology that's there. Sony gave you this technology, use it. Like no one else is using it, and Team Asobi is like, okay, we got it.
That game completely. That game made me do a 180 on the DualSense. No joke. That is very good. It's incredible. And it showed me just how incredible the DualSense actually is. So shout out to them, if for nothing else for that. But
the levels in the game, just how inventive they are with the levels, like nothing to me, I can't think of a time I've come across a level and been like, this again. Like, no, everything is fresh and new, from like not only straight up just a new like biome you're in, whether it's ice or snow or space or whatever. Like there's hundreds of different like themes they're working with, but even the layouts are all so creative. The characters you're running into, the little just environmental characters, if that's what you want to call them. Like, I don't know, like, okay, sometimes now it's monkeys, now it's little pirate dudes, now it's like whatever.
Cats.
It's just so good. I don't know. You've played more than me, Adrian, so I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. But I can't get over how just perfect this game is. I know we weren't worried leading up to it. Like, I mean, yeah, I wasn't worried, but at the same time, I was kind of like, man, but what if they whiff it? Like, I don't think they will. It would be wild if they did, but what if they do? And then it came out, it's like, oh, yeah, no, I don't know why even why even entertain that thought? Because we all knew like this is going to be a good game.
You gotta also remember, Team Asobi is it's a team full of PlayStation veterans who like made all their greatest hits, you know. So I feel like all that gaming knowledge and know-how, there's no there was a very slim chance that it wasn't going to work out, especially based on their track record. I tweeted a little while ago that this Team Asobi has risen up my ranks at light speed to be like one of the studios to where now that they have this many like certified bangers under their belt, with the most recent of them being like quite possibly one of the best PlayStation games ever, that if I see Team Asobi on something, I don't have to worry about it. I'm just gonna buy it. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to necessarily be Astro Bot. They can go off and make something completely different. But because their track record is so good, and I know their standard of quality just from these games alone, if they wanted to make something completely different, as long as it says Team Asobi on there, I'm there. Don't worry about it. They got it, you know? Yeah, this game is phenomenal top to bottom. I have quite literally zero complaints about it. And I'm sure I can go in and nitpick it, but like things that I feel like would be worth mentioning, I don't have anything to say at this point. This game is just, it's a masterclass in gameplay and using ideas to the fullest and coming up with fresh ideas. It's gorgeous, and it runs rock solid. I haven't had a frame drop. I haven't had a bug. I haven't had anything happen with my playthrough so far.
Yeah. I've been playing it on using remote play on my Steam Deck, and I surprisingly, so I'm not getting the HD or the haptic feedback, like HD rumble of the DualSense,
which I think you're missing out on, by the way.
The Steam Deck does have rumble, and it does try to emulate it, and it comes pretty close. It's not perfect one-to-one, because I played a little bit on my console, and I'm like, okay, this feels great. There's actually like the app that I use for remote play, because there's not a native Steam Deck app, but so what I'm using has like you can emulate the HD rumble, and it does a pretty good job. That's actually kind of impressive, honestly, that the Steam Deck's able to keep up. But even just playing on like the screen, like the screen has HDR, like it's outputting on it with like HDR and everything on the little screen. I'm like, this is tight. Like, it's honestly, that's the one time, like even having like the PlayStation Portal would be kind of sick.
I was gonna say that sounds like a perfect case for you to get the Portal, because it has all the haptics in it. So
because like that's all I'm missing out on. Like I got the HDR, I got this like smooth, buttery, remote play. Like it's been phenomenal, but I'm like, it would be sick to be able, which I could just sync a DualSense to my Steam Deck. Like that is possible to do. Then I just got to figure out where to put my Steam Deck while I'm playing. It's not a TV.
There's no stand.
No stand. But I've been very, very, very much enjoying it. I want to at some point play on like a bigger screen, but I've shocked at how well even like, and how fun it is. I love how each of the levels are like little bite-sized levels. So I can just like sit down and be like, let me just knock out a level real quick on my Steam Deck. Knock it out. My kids love watching it. That's the biggest thing too, is like so many games I play, it's like, sorry kids, can't watch this one. Sorry, can't watch Space Marine 2 right now. I'm gonna be that's like the goriest game I've played in a long time. Like the blood and gore in that game is like ridiculous.
Off the charts.
And I'm like, don't watch. And then this popped up. I'm like, okay, come on, guys, let's watch this.
All you want.
Can play this. Shepard even played. So last week, he saw the trailer for Astro Bot. I showed it to him and Griff, and Shep's like, I want to try it. He's like 6, almost 7, and I'm like, oh, that game's not out yet, but Astro's Playroom is out. You want to play the first one? He's like, yeah, Dad. And he played that the other day, and he absolutely loved it. So he's excited to play through Astro Bot.
Kid's got good taste.
But I was like, no, you got to finish the first one, then you can play through the new one.
Good call.
Okay.
Good call.
Right.
That gives you time to play the new one. I see what
exactly.
you're doing.
Yeah. It's like, let me finish up the first one first. I want to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, this game is amazing. It, as of right now, I'm about a little over halfway through. I definitely see this as game of the year for me. No question. And I mean, full transparency, this year has been really, I guess, tough, like motivation wise to like really want to play games and stuff like that. And I think this is the game that has, like, granted it's late in the year, but like has brought me out of that funk to want to, really start playing games a lot. Like, there would be games that come out that I would, want to play, and, I enjoy them, but like as a whole, I was just like, man, for the majority of this year, it's just like, man, I really don't feel like sinking my teeth into anything, like really long term with games. And this is kind of doing the same thing as Mario Odyssey did, where it's just like, it's a reminder that of the potential that games have to be, fun, joyous experiences. And I'm not saying that they have to be joyous experiences all the time, but just like, this is a reminder of the creativity that can be put into games that, if you allow them, and if you allow yourself to, fully commit to the experience, you get exactly whatever you put into it is what you get out.
Yeah.
I've said multiple times that Mario Odyssey was one of the, it was so full of joy and care and reverence, and made by people who love video games, that one of the sections quite literally made me cry tears of joy, because it was just so much radiating from it, so much love and care. And I fully expect there to be a moment in Astro Bot where the same thing is going to happen, and I'm waiting for it, and I welcome it with open arms. So yeah, for me, this game is probably one of the best PlayStation games of all time. It stands shoulder to shoulder with Mario Odyssey for me. And I have no bad things to say about it right now. Congratulations to Team Asobi. You guys have been killing it. This is your best game by far. I can't wait to see where you go, whether it's with or without Astro Bot. I am rooting for you guys. I am on your side. So
heck yeah. Yeah, obviously I'd love to see more Astro Bot, but also I'm like really excited to see, I would love to see something that's different. Because obviously Astro Bot, there's only so much you can, so many times the gimmick, I guess, can be just, finding all the video game characters from old video games,
right.
Like
you don't want to overstay your welcome.
Yeah. Like they've done that, a couple times now. So now it's like, all right, not that that's bad. Again, it's been great. And if anything, it's gotten better every time. But it's like, all right, this almost feels like the ultimate, like a Smash Bros. Ultimate experience here. Now we need to do something different. Now what's next? How are we going to change it up? Whether it's, you can keep Astro Bot, but have like, it needs to be a different catch to the game, or just new IP altogether. But I'm in the same boat as you. I'm so excited to see what they do next, and I'm very, very excited to sink my teeth more into this currently. I'm in no rush to get anything new. Let's just put it that way. I'm in no rush to get anything new, but I am excited to see what's coming next because of how good this has been so far. So,
yep. I'm in no rush to beat this game, but I can't stop playing. So I might just end up beating it faster than I expected.
Oh, man. All right. This is the last news story. We'll just hit it real quick. This next news story comes to us from Rock Paper Shotgun, written by Graham Smith. Shinji Mikami thought Tango Gameworks would be safe from closure if they made Hi-Fi Rush games. So that doesn't like breaking.
That hurts. That hurts to hear. Right. Oh,
this isn't like crazy breaking news or anything like that, but it's kind of like, oh, is it interesting to hear from Shinji Mikami, who was there up until just recently, like before the shutdown, he left, right? It was pretty, like, he didn't leave, or when did he leave?
He left a while
Was
before
it a while
that?
ago? Okay, for some reason I
because
thought
he
it was
only
close.
did Evil Within and then was like, all right, I'm out.
Oh, okay. For some reason I thought he was there a little longer, but I digress. Shinji Mikami, the founder of Tango Gameworks. Oh, okay. So that's what I was thinking of. He was the founder, so he wasn't necessarily there a long time, but I mean, he obviously would have, blood, sweat, and tears in there, founding it, thought the studio would be safe as long as they continue to make Hi-Fi Rush games. Mikami was asked about the studio's closure by Microsoft earlier this year and its revival under new owners Krafton at Gamescom last month. I thought the studio would be safe as long as they continue to make Hi-Fi Rush games. That's one of the reasons I left Tango Gameworks, so I was surprised when the studio was closed down, Mikami told IGN. Now Krafton has taken over the business, so I feel like it worked out well in the end. I was reminded that if you make a good game, someone will pick it up. The hard work of the Hi-Fi Rush development team led to a new chapter for the company, and I think that for a development studio, making a good game is more directly related to survival than making a popular game. Mikami was being interviewed alongside fellow designer Goichi Suda, who called Tango Gameworks closure a bolt from the blue. Suda and Mikami worked together on Shadows of the Damned remaster, which is being released later this year. Mikami is best known for his work in the survival horror genre, directing Resident Evils 1 and 4 at Capcom, and the Evil Within series of Tango Gameworks. He's spoken previously about wanting to leave Tango Gameworks long before he did in order to move away from the genre. It makes sense that he'd see the critical success of Hi-Fi Rush, a game which he mentored but did not direct, as the opportunity for him to leave with the studio's future secured. Yeah, so I don't know, it's neat to hear his thoughts on that. Again, having kind of founded that studio, hear his thoughts on the shutdown and his general kind of excitement, and almost like I love how he's like, hey, if you make good games, you're going to be able to keep making good games. Like someone will pick you up,
Oops.
But what? Oops, what?
If you keep making good games, somebody will pick you up or continue to pick you up. Oops. Xbox didn't think so. They did.
No, that's true. But that's just goes to show, like I mentioned earlier, the PlayStation Store. That just goes to show how bad a play, or not. No, that was during the listener questions. How bad a place Xbox is in right now. The fact
how many
that
bonehead decisions they've been making.
Well, there was what was that? There was an article that came on IGN this past week where apparently they were interviewing Phil Spencer, and didn't he say something like, "I've made like a lot of bad decisions this bad like."
It was, and you made a lot of good ones too. Let's be fair.
Though it was just interesting though, like to hear him like own up to like, no, I've made a lot of terrible decisions. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Because a lot of times like everyone's just like so strict on the PR speak, and they're just like can't talk bad about anything. And for them to be so candid was like, I didn't read the entire article, and maybe there's more context to what he was saying. But even just like that headline was kind of like, oh, okay. Whatever the context is, that's interesting to even like contemplate that, or entertain that in an interview, no matter the context. The fact that you'd admit in any way that you made a bad decision, because so much is just like, no, let's just pretend everything we're doing is great. It's fine, smooth it over. Right. But anyways, yeah. Good to hear. I mean, obviously, I'm encouraged that Tango Gameworks was picked back up.
Yes, thank the Lord. Oh.
Good.
I was so bummed we were only going to get Hi-Fi Rush and then call it a day, dude.
Man, that would have been a tragedy right there. All right. Well, I think that's it for the nerdy nudes. Now it's time for our Patreon ad.
Let's do it.
All right, this is a part of the show where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. The support's over there starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1 a month. You get episodes early and ad-free, such as this show, and access to our Patreon exclusive shows like Super Later Boys and early season Super Gamer Book Club. You can also get access to... No, I think that's it. I was going to say, Super Dungeon Boys, Super Gamer Book Club, everything, and all of our old stuff is all ad-free as well. That's what I was going to say. So you get early access to stuff, ad-free, Patreon exclusive, all that, just for $1 a month. Entire catalog of stuff. So make sure to go check that out. $5 a month. You can support us there and get that previous perk and the show notes ahead of time, so you can leave us questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, whatever you're feeling or thinking at that moment. you can leave it right directly on the dock for me to see while we're doing the show. So if you want to answer a listener question, or if you have thoughts on a game we've been playing or a news story we're going to talk about, think about supporting us at $5 a month. You can have your voice heard each and every episode just by leaving your comment right on the dock, our show notes. You can also support us at $10 a month, be a Super Gamer sponsor. You get all those previous perks and a big ol' shout out to top of each and every episode here. And that's always fun to do. I love reading through that list of names. It's fun to show off all of our awesome supporters there in that way. And then the top dog tier, we got a Patreon producer. That's right, $15 a month. You can support us there and get all the previous perks, plus the ability to pitch us a show segment. If you have an idea for something you would like us to do, or maybe you have an idea of something you want to do, we've done that before. We have our buddy Kajoma. He had Kajoma's Card Game Corner for a little bit. He did that both on in show, and for a little bit there was a time where it was on social media, on YouTube. So back in the day, we had Losing Reviews, which is a segment where we reviewed bad movies and TV shows, all sorts of stuff. So before you do support us there, think about running it by us, see what we think, feel us out a little bit, but support us over there, and then we would love to pick up some of those segments if you got some good fun ideas. So if you want to be have a bigger hand in the show, feel like you're more a part of it, $15 a month, and you can have your name immortalized as a Super Gamer Patreon producer there. All right, you can also support us over at sgbstore.com. You can buy some sweet merch. Our Summer Gamer Boys collection is still up, so you should go over there and pick up some Summer Gamer Boys t-shirts, pick up some cups and mugs and shorts and hats and everything else over there. Got lots of fun summer stuff. Get a pin set. I have my pins on a bag. I just gave some pins to my kids. They're super stoked about them. So if you have any friends or family or whatever who are just interested in video games and podcasts, and our video game podcast maybe in particular, think about buying them some merch. Maybe they would appreciate that. And even if they don't, I've had people buy some of our new glasses, the cups. They don't listen to our podcast or play games, but they like the design. So check it out, sgbstore.com. And last but not least, you can subscribe over on Twitch. If you're watching at twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys, you can support us there for whatever it is now. It costs money to sub typically, unless you have an Amazon Prime account. That's right. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link it to your Twitch account and use your free Prime gaming subscription. Doesn't cost you anything. $0 each every month for you. But for us, we get the regular amount we would get there. So think about supporting us there. I think normally subs are like $5 or $6 a month, but you can get it for free, and that gives you access to our streams ad-free, and again, access to our emotes, and it allows you to, again, financially support the channel. We get a few bucks tossed our way. So think about supporting us that way. That would be very, very much appreciated. And even if you don't have Amazon Prime or you don't want to use the Prime Gaming sub on us, you can use a regular sub. We'd enjoy that too. But for those of you folks who didn't hear about it before, didn't know about it, yeah, Prime Gaming sub, $0. Doesn't cost you anything. Still helps our channel out a lot. Think about dropping that on our channel at twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys. All right, and with that, let's get back to the show. Alrighty, it's that time, Adrian. We are getting close to the end here, closing out this show. But before we do, I have a very, very important question for you. And that is, what you playing?
I mean, I feel like it's quite obvious what you and I are playing. So I'm not going to go over it again. I'll just say, refer back to the second news story in tonight's episode, and you'll realize what we've been playing. Yeah. However, I will add on really quickly that Astro Bot has I guess until I'm done with it, or for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be a PlayStation kid, because it has inspired me to going through the nostalgia and all the deep references and stuff that I haven't thought about in a long time when it comes to PlayStation. It made me pick up my Vita and download a lot of the old, PS2 collections, PS1 games that I haven't played in such a long time, and just kind of go through them and be like, man, these games really did rip. These were like, PlayStation has quite a diverse had quite a diverse lineup back in the day, and it's nice to kind of go back through and rediscover a lot of those and just how good those games were. So yeah, it worked. Your secret propaganda machine worked, Sony.
That's the trick. They want you to play.
Be proud of yourselves.
They want you to play Astro Bot. Feel nostalgic for all these old games. Get if you don't own the games, obviously it's like, oh, we'll get PlayStation Plus Premium, whatever, and you have access to our classic collection and all this stuff, and it's all trying to market themselves. But you know what? In the process, if we got an incredible game out of it, I'm fine with it.
We sure did.
I'm fine with it.
Have you been playing anything outside of? I know you got something lined up for this evening, but
yeah, I mean, other than Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. Which, like I said, I played like 45 minutes yesterday because I got it early. I wanted to make sure I was ready because I had read somewhere that before you could do multiplayer, you had to play through like the first mission. It took me about like 45 minutes, I think. So I did that yesterday. So that way tonight, I'm ready to play with my boys, Nate and Dan. We're going to be hopefully squadding up here after I finish up my editing and everything for their show here, and I probably should pack. We're leaving to Seattle tomorrow, But
I did forget to ask.
Yes,
was this Warhammer game? Did it reach the level of dorkiness that you needed it to be considered a full-on Warhammer game?
Okay, all right.
I want to know if it you know what I mean. Does it continue the legacy of? Does it reach those heights?
It's not dorky. There's nothing dorky about it.
It's it's not a real Warhammer game. I knew it. I knew it.
No. So I actually, I guess I could talk about, I started playing a Warhammer Space Marine 1 because I haven't played it. The first one came out like 13 years ago, if I remember right. It's like 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. And I haven't played it since then. Like it came out on PS3 and I played it and just kind of moved on. And I remember it being an incredible game. Like it was a lot of fun. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pick it up before I get Space Marine 2, kind of dip my toes back in that world. And I was really enjoying it. I mean, it definitely feels like a PS3 game, but the combat still feels really good, surprisingly. And I was playing it on my Steam Deck, and because it's such an old game, I can play it at like a high resolution with everything cranked up to ultra. So it like looks really good. Like I feel like it looks better than it did on PS3. And so I'm like, oh man, like this game doesn't look bad and plays really good and it's a lot of fun. So that got me super hyped. I didn't get to finish it, but I got like halfway through the game this past week. So playing through Space Marine 1. And then I got to play like 45 minutes Space Marine 2. And the first thing I noticed was just like, oh, this game is just so beautiful. Like, so Warhammer already has been really like upping their game with their cinematics. Like every time they announce anything, any new product, board game, video game, or otherwise, they're up there with like, I don't even know, like their cinematics are on just another level. Like people talk about like, oh, like Blizzard with World of Warcraft or Diablo. It's like, honestly,
they are phenomenal. Come on now.
They are phenomenal. They are phenomenal, but Games Workshop gives them a run for their money, in my opinion. Like some of the cinematics they put out are absolutely insane. I mean, they have a whole streaming service. There's Warhammer Plus with like their own full TV shows that are just like incredible.
But it's not dorky. Okay. All right.
I'm gonna send you my login. You
want to
watch,
go back and get a subscription service for some cinematics?
Well, no, they're full-on TV show. They're like 20, 30-minute long episodes of stuff, full seasons. Okay. It's good. It's good. So it starts off with a cinematic, but then it like drops into the game, and you expect it to like dip in quality a little bit. It doesn't. Like a little bit, but honestly, it was like it goes from cutscene to game, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this game is genuinely just beautiful. Absolutely incredible how they're able to do that and have it run so smoothly. Granted, I'm only able to run it on like medium or maybe like between medium and high on my PC. To play it on like high or like very high or ultra, it requires something like beefy computer. You need like a 4090 and like crazy stuff.
I believe it.
But with my little 3070, I was able to run it at least even on like medium, even on like medium high. Again, and that's even running on medium, it still looks absolutely glorious. So graphics wise, it's great. Gameplay wise, it's so smooth. The combat's so much fun. Going from melee to range combat, like pulling out your chainsaw to like a gun and just like using them in tandem, which I love. That you're just like chopping people down with one hand, the other hand you're like popping people, pop as they're just rushing towards you. It's made by the studio who did World War Z, so it has like those similar physics of just like swarms, coming towards swarms of Tyranids, like these Xenos alien swarms coming after you, and it's just absolutely terrifying seeing the sheer number of just bodies flying towards you at like 100 miles an hour, but it's so satisfying to just chop them down with your weapons and grenades and whatever else you have. So it's a good game so far. I've only done like the first mission, but I'm interested in the story.
So it's like
I'm loving the gameplay.
Gears.
100%. It has a lot of the feeling of the gameplay of Gears, honestly. Like it doesn't have like a cover system, but everything else, like like the third person over the shoulder, even the camera angle, it feels very, very, very similar to like a Gears game.
Okay.
So it's Gears.
I might be able to get with that
with a Warhammer skin on it. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. So highly recommend. So far, again, take that with a grain of salt. I've only played the first mission, but tonight I'm going to be playing a lot more. And then I'm hopefully, I said hopefully and hoping in the same word. I'm hoping by next episode I can report more, which by the way, I should have announced at the top of the show because not a lot of people listen this late in the episode. But next week we're having a planned no episode, I think, at this point, because I'm in Seattle.
Some traveling folks.
And Adrian's out of town. So
I'll be in Orlando.
Yeah, he'll be kicking it with Mickey, maybe. So sorry, no show next week. We had an idea about having a little takeover, but I feel like it's too late for that to pull something like that out now. We'll see. At this point, plan on nothing, but if something does come out, then Merry Christmas.
You never know. Real quick, circling back. Carrie said, "Did you hear Days Gone's creative director is mad that his character was reduced to appearing, quote, was reduced to appearing in Astro Bot?"
I saw that. I mean,
to that I say, sir, you got a lot of nerve being mad about anybody referencing your mid game. Okay, let's keep it a buck. Days Gone is mid when we're comparing it to other PlayStation exclusive titles. Okay,
I mean,
let's be real.
Yeah.
All right.
I remember
the reason that you're in that game is because you're a piece of PlayStation history.
Yeah.
All right. Do you see a Days Gone guest game level in Astro Bot? No, you don't.
No. I mean, hit that. I forget his name, whatever the creative director's name. I mean, when he went off the deep end, I remember we talked about on the show, like
not to mention he's a terrible person, by the way.
I remember the articles coming out with like he's like such a terrible person to work with, like he was abusive, he was like all this stuff. I don't know. He blamed the weak sales of the game on just ridiculous stuff. Like I don't know. It was one of those things when I saw that tweet, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like I was like so pissed off. I'm like, what an idiot. Like just shut up. Like no one, everyone already didn't care about you, about all this stuff you pulled a few years ago. Like after all the like news and information came out about him, like the reports started coming out. And then for him to do that, I'm like, okay, this guy is just petty. Like he just needs to move on and get out of here.
He still harps on about, it's Ben's fault. It's the player's fault no, bro, the game wasn't that good. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It was okay.
It wasn't bad.
It was okay.
It was just fine. Yeah, exactly.
It's not worth most people jumping into. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
So
no, nothing wrong with that. Like a lot like that happens, but I don't know.
Right.
You got so butthurt.
You honestly should
it.
be glad that Astro decided to involve you guys. I'm pretty sure actually they had to because you're a PlayStation game.
Probably,
so,
yeah.
Let's keep it a buck. If I were you, I'd shut my mouth before I don't get any more opportunities in the gaming industry, because everybody knows how terrible a person I am. So let's not do that anymore, huh? Maniac.
Oh man. So yeah, there's that. So good old days gone. All right.
Glad Ben's making something else, that they want to make.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Or that they're good at making. That's not mid, because we know Ben doesn't make mid. So that was clearly a one-off.
Yep.
So.
Yep. All right. Well, that concludes this episode. Thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out with us here. We love all of you folks out there, whether you're listening on a podcast, watching live on Twitch, watching later on YouTube. But we especially love you. Patreon.com/SuperGamerBoys supporters. You guys are awesome. And if you want to be one of those awesome folks, head over there. Patreon.com/SuperGamerBoys. Like I said before, starting at just $1 a month. We got 4 different tiers. Think about supporting us there. If you love what we do, want to help us continue to make cool stuff for you, we appreciate each and every one of you. SGBstore.com. You can buy some sweet merch. That also helps support the channel. Buy a t-shirt, buy some cups, mugs, hoodies, whatever. We got all sorts of fun stuff. You should go check it out. Summer game collection is up, as well as our classic logo collection. That stuff, the classic stuff, will always be up. Although I just recently saw that we had a snapback. It went away. They discontinued the hat, so I got to remake the snapback. That's fine. I digress. So I'll get back in there and get that fixed. Rate and review us where you can. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, throw us a 5 stars. Throw us a little review. 5 stars are great. 5 stars with a little written review is even better. So think about doing that. Spotify, I know you can do 5 stars. I don't know if you can write reviews on Spotify, but at least give us a 5 stars. That'd be awesome as well. Shout out to Jack Sriracha.
You shouldn't be using Spotify in the first place. So let's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, if you're on Android, though, it's your only choice. They just shut down Google Podcasts. It doesn't exist anymore. So
yeah, that's Google for you.
Shout out to Jack Sriracha, Yate, and DJ Trooz for allowing us to use their music on the show. Remember, today we've been listening to Jack Sriracha and Yate. Links will be in the show description for Apple Music and Spotify. Go add them to your playlist. You can find us during the week over at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys. Twitter and Instagram, you can find me at gmorlang and find Adrian at somewhere.
You can find me any and everywhere. I was gonna say you're running on fumes. I got you. You can find me any and everywhere at Homeboy, folks. I normally go on a long rant.
It's 89 degrees in here.
I normally go on a long rant about how much we appreciate you and your support, and you please know that is the case.
Yes.
But I am absolutely jonesing and chomping at the bit to get back to Astro Bot. So please, we love you. We will see you soon. And until next time, we are the Super Gamer Boys.
And we'll catch you on the flippity flop.
Okay, good. Let's go. I got Astro Bot to play, man. I need it.
Now, is it chomping or champing?
Doesn't matter. I gotta go.
All right. See ya.